Welcome to Day 2 of 15 Days Nazi Crime Series. Today we will talk about Treblinka, a name less known than Auschwitz, but equally synonymous with the horrors of the Holocaust. Located in a remote forest in occupied Poland, Treblinka was one of the most efficient killing centers established by the Nazis as part of Operation Reinhard. Unlike Auschwitz, Treblinka was not a concentration camp with forced labor. It was purely a death camp, designed with one horrific purpose: the extermination of human beings. Within just 15 months of operation, Treblinka claimed the lives of an estimated 800,000 to 900,000 people, most of whom were Jews from Poland and other parts of Europe. This video delves into the dark history of Treblinka, exploring how it became a factory of death and the brutal efficiency with which it operated. Treblinka was established in the summer of 1942, during the height of the Holocaust. It was part of Operation Reinhard, the Nazi plan to exterminate the Jews of occupied Poland. Located near the village of Treblinka, about 50 miles northeast of Warsaw, the camp was situated in a secluded area, far from prying eyes. Its location was chosen for its accessibility by rail, making it easier to transport victims from various ghettos across Poland. Treblinka was actually two camps: Treblinka I, a labor camp for Polish prisoners, and Treblinka II, the extermination camp. It is Treblinka II that became infamous for its role in the Holocaust. The camp was designed with chilling efficiency. It consisted of a reception area, where victims arrived by train, and the killing area, which included gas chambers and mass graves. The entire camp was surrounded by barbed wire and camouflaged to prevent detection from the outside world. The process at Treblinka was horrifyingly systematic. Trains carrying up to 7,000 people at a time arrived at the camp's railway platform, which was disguised to resemble a normal train station, complete with signs and a clock. This deception was part of the Nazis' effort to keep the victims calm until the last moment. Upon arrival, victims were forced to disembark quickly, often under the pretense that they were being relocated or sent to work. Immediately, men were separated from women and children. They were told to undress and hand over their valuables, under the guise of disinfection. In reality, they were being prepared for the gas chambers. The camp had multiple gas chambers, capable of killing thousands of people at once. Victims were crammed into these chambers, and carbon monoxide gas was pumped in. Death was agonizing and swift. After the victims were murdered, their bodies were removed by the Sonderkommando, groups of Jewish prisoners forced to work in the camp. The bodies were initially buried in mass graves, but as the Nazis realized they needed to cover their tracks, they began exhuming and burning the corpses on large pyres, reducing the remains to ashes. This process continued until the camp's closure. For the few who were selected to live and work in the camp, daily life was a nightmare. The camp's guards, mostly Ukrainians trained by the SS, were notorious for their cruelty. Prisoners were subjected to constant beatings, starvation, and forced labor under inhumane conditions. The work was relentless and gruesome, particularly for the Sonderkommando, who were forced to dispose of the bodies of their fellow Jews. The psychological torment was unbearable. Prisoners lived with the constant knowledge that they could be killed at any moment, either for the slightest infraction or simply because they were no longer needed. Escape was nearly impossible due to the camp's remote location and the brutal response of the guards to any attempt. Despite the overwhelming odds, there was resistance within Treblinka. A clandestine resistance group formed among the prisoners, who began planning a revolt in the summer of 1943. Their goal was not only to escape but also to destroy the camp and disrupt its operations. On August 2, 1943, the revolt began. Prisoners managed to kill several guards, set fire to buildings, and damage the gas chambers. Although many of the rebels were killed, some managed to escape into the surrounding forests, where they joined partisan groups or tried to survive until the end of the war. The Uprising, though ultimately unsuccessful in fully destroying the camp, is a powerful testament to the resilience and courage of the prisoners. It forced the Nazis to close Treblinka shortly after, as the camp had largely fulfilled its grim purpose. In the fall of 1943, the Nazis began dismantling Treblinka. They destroyed the gas chambers, leveled the buildings, and planted trees over the site in an attempt to cover up the evidence of the atrocities committed there. The camp was completely closed by November 1943. By the time the Soviet army reached the area in 1944, little remained of the camp, but the testimonies of survivors and the remains of mass graves revealed the truth. Today, Treblinka stands as a haunting reminder of the Holocaust's brutality. A memorial now marks the site of the former camp, honoring the hundreds of thousands of victims who perished there. The legacy of Treblinka is a somber reflection on the capacity for human cruelty and the importance of remembering the horrors of the Holocaust to ensure such atrocities never happen again. As we reflect on the tragedy of Treblinka, we honor the memory of those who were lost and reaffirm our commitment to fighting against hatred and intolerance in all its forms. The story of Treblinka, like that of Auschwitz, serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked evil and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable horror. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe and turn on notifications so that you won't miss the next video.